All right. Hmm. All right. Huh? The other option is to just sit. Hello, Matthew. Hello, Jess. Ooh, tired. Hello, Scott. Putting up a new sticker will work. Oh, okay. There we go. Hello, American Sports. Hello, Angela. Hello, Dave. Hello, Lou. Hello, Snowman. Hello, Earl. And some people. Let's see if I can change this. Okay. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Lewis. Hello, Susan. Maybe you have something delightful to say about this topic. Come on up.
Why thank you for the invite.
Hello. How's my favorite chaser doing today?
Oh, how's my favorite girl doing?
Well, I asked you first.
I'm wonderful. The world, I wake up every day with a smile on my face. It's like a Disney movie.
I love that
The
for
sun
you.
is shining, the birds are singing.
What do you think about Luigi?
I think he's a hero. I think he is, honestly, I don't think, but I have very high hopes that he may be one of the first cases of real jury nullification. I don't think they're going to convict him. I really don't. I could be wrong, but I'm about 40 to 60% certain that by the time this guy goes to court, he's not going to get convicted no matter what they say.
I agree with you, and I have a hard time believing it will even be able to go to court because it will be near impossible to find an unbiased jury.
Yeah, but eventually they'll try. Like
Oh
they'll
no, they're gonna try. I'm just saying they literally have to try. But like finding an unbiased jury, judge, and prosecutor when every American has at least one horror story of the American healthcare system, I doubt it.
no, that's a very good point. I agree with you on that. It's going to be very because everybody knows. Everybody knows somebody or has seen their family members have to go through what the insurance companies do.
Yeah. And it's my understanding that Luigi had Blue Cross Blue Shield, but his mom had United.
Hmm.
So yeah.
And did you
Uh
read the manifesto?
no, I didn't. I am
You
waiting
should
to
have.
see if it's confirmed that the manifesto is even from him and not something that the police conjured up.
I think it is though because it speaks to his mom's struggles. Like basically, she had a really bad time. Like even the good days were kind of bad. You know what I mean? And
I
he's
feel that.
speaking. So,
Right on.
and the nice thing about that is that I don't know if it's going to be used in his trial, but like for a lot of things that happen, there's people can understand but not empathize. You know what I'm saying? But with this, people can very easily put themselves in his place.
That's yes. That is, and it's a matter of like, I think that this transcends beyond social media because it's like they're going to have to find somebody who doesn't know who he is and can be unbiased in the case of, hey, do you hate the American healthcare system? Most people are going to say yes. Hey, Chico. But I mean like I don't think we have any disagreeable points on this one, but how far along are you in the monopoly theory? Are you even in that?
What do you mean by monopoly theory?
So, myself and quite a few other people believe that this is all one greater game of Monopoly and that this is a group of people, not just Luigi.
Oh, I
Yeah,
hope
yeah.
so. I see what you're saying as far as like the monopoly money and the symbolism and like, dude, I hope so. I truly do. Because honestly, it's already affected positive change. Like
Oh,
with
yeah.
Anaheim or whatever, with their 50% anesthesia thing and how they backtracked on that. I think it's about time people in this country started doing this stuff. It's like I'm watching a Joker movie, but it's even better.
Yeah. 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 Um, but yeah, the Monopoly thing is that whoever John Wick is, he's a ghost now.
Hmm.
It's like that person hit up was spotted in I think three spots on the Monopoly board. That's where the hostel was. That's where that Starbucks was, and Manhattan is also on the Monopoly board. And Luigi was found in Altoona, Pennsylvania, which is the start of the Pennsylvania Railroad, and the Monopoly money in the backpack. So and if you like, I don't think that Luigi is the guy. I think that the guy is gone. So like Luigi is the second player.
Hmm.
So and like I don't remember how many Monopoly pieces there are, but I'm gonna speculate that there are eight. So that means that there's at least eight people in on this.
Well, I mean, if I saw a rash of copycats, I would not be displeased. I really wouldn't. Like if like the cultural feeling of the moment is very forgiven for this. I think. I think if like it would because most times if something like this happens, people are, oh my God, it's so horrible, blah. But most people are just like good. Like that's the vast majority of feeling for this is like good. They deserve it. And if the American public feels that way, that means that the people who are engaged in this are going to get support. So,
Yeah, you know there was just a shooting in Madison.
oh, this the school thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard about that.
I just heard about that today.
I don't know all the details.
I think it's what we're used to. Like some guy who probably didn't even go to that school went and shot it up.
Hmm. I think it's all a
One teacher.
psyop.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're so deep in school shootings that this is just another day in America.
I agree. But like there's a book by a guy who was a naval intelligence officer named Bill Cooper. He wrote To Ride a Pale Horse. And in that book, he said that one of the plans that the CIA had was to like basically they there's a lot of like they all go it's kind of complicated, but there's a lot of homeless kids out there, like street kids and stuff, and they get swept up and they get programmed. They get like they basically traumatize them and they overlay a new personality on them. And a lot of these personalities, according to what he said, have been programmed to go to schools and unalive children. And the point
Hmm.
of this is to stir up public sentiment so that the public will be behind the banning of the Second Amendment or the repeal of the Second Amendment.
So why do that when every time something big happens, they try to say that there was another alien sighting?
Well, that's another thing too. It's all part of the same play. Honestly, the whole Bill Cooper, the book, he goes into that too. But he says aliens are real. He says they've known for a long time. There's all the types. We like he goes into it, and he's given credibility because he was a naval intelligence officer. So
Yeah, I'm not necessarily arguing, and I know that two things can be true. It's
Mhm.
just like it just seems like a lot, and it's just like with advertising, right? If you do something so much, people eventually stop paying attention. And I hate to say that about school shootings. This isn't immensely tragic. No life should be lost so senselessly. But we are at that point with school shootings. Like, thoughts and prayers on to the next one.
well, here's how I feel about it, and I agree that to a certain degree we are at that point where it's just thoughts and prayers off to the next one. Because, in my opinion, the American public will accept that. Like, I'm pretty pro gun, and it's not going to move me from my position. But I think what's happening is the cause of it. I think we should not be putting kids in public, making them sit at desks for 8 hours a day, learning useless crap when they're children. I think like we should let kids be kids, give them freedom, give them like playtime, let them like climb trees and do all. Like I think the programmation of our children in the public school system is part of what's causing this. I think it's causing kids to go psycho, man. Because honestly, school sucks.
I don't disagree with that. Like, it's just we would have to change, the machinations of society for like, well, if we're gonna let the kids roam free, well, free, not like
Mhm.
irresponsible,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
like, if we're gonna let the kids be loose, then like, we gotta have the child care for that. We gotta have the health care for that. We gotta have the uh social safety nets to make sure everybody can eat for that. Um,
Well, I'll say this.
However,
Oh, go
like a
ahead.
better world is possible. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree. And I honestly, I really feel that if we're gonna make a better world, if the time is not now, it's growing very close. Like the mood of the public is in a mood for change, because we all see that this shit ain't working. There's a lot
Right.
of things that, like there's holes in the ship, bro. Yeah. Everyone can see it. We're just pretending that we don't. But if we're
Well,
gonna make a change, I think the time to do so is coming soon.
I don't think it's a matter of pretending because we know that this is terrible. We've been saying it already. It's just it's now getting notoriety because now the CEOs are literally have targets on their heads.
Yeah.
You heard about what happened on December 11th, yeah?
No, tell me.
Um, yeah, and I'm gonna ask you about that in a second. York, I'm glad you brought that up. Um, So Luigi, shortly after he was arrested, he alluded to something very cryptic. He said something's going to happen on December the 11th, and on December the 11th, flyers of healthcare CEOs as wanted posters went up all around New York, and the police don't know who did that either, of course.
Oh, that
And
gives me so
Brian
much hope.
Thompson and Brian Thompson's head was crossed off of the
Of the
flyers.
list.
Yeah,
That's awesome. So there's two things with that. Either it was pre-planned, which means he is organized and he has support. You know what I mean? On the outside, like other people are going, or there's somebody else picking up the torch.
you don't play Monopoly by yourself.
That's true. That is very true. That gives me hope because honestly, I like, don't get me wrong. I mean, life and all that good stuff, human beings, family, father. I'm sorry for his children and his wife and all that. I really am, truly.
Yeah.
But I weigh that against all the people who suffered because of that. And honestly,
Yeah.
I agree with what Luigi said. The only way sometimes to really affect change is through violence. That's a fact. So I'm not against it. I'm really not. They let it get to this point.
I agree. I feel the same way. There's no such thing as a nonviolent revolution. Like that's not even a thing.
Yep.
But I do want to ask you, is there a backstory behind your name?
There is, but no one believes me when I tell them it's not what you think. But uh, misspent youth. But no one believes me, so I don't. I usually don't get into it because I prefer
Oh,
not to tell the story and be mocked or ridiculed for it. So,
well, you have the
but
name,
it's
don't
not a
you?
name I came up with. It's a name other people gave me.
Oh, okay. It's one of those. It's an inside joke.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay, that's
I,
fair.
I mean, it just if I tell, then it's an important story in my life, and people ridicule and look for things on TikTok. So,
It's yeah, it's weird. Um, but yeah, if it's an inside joke, then we wouldn't understand it anyway. But so there's no
yeah.
need for me to. Yeah, it's whatever. Um, but yeah, you all right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a second.
Sorry, little coughing session.
Oh, you're good. Hello, Izzy. Hello, Destiny. Hello, Craig. Um, but yeah, so like I think that at this point it is clear that he's organized. Like they're like who plays Monopoly with like less than four people? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like it's like to me it's obvious, but they're but it's like they can't that's not what he's going to be on trial for. He's going to be on trial for the murder of Brian Thompson. And that's going to be and he didn't do it, so that's the end of it.
Yeah, but they're gonna make it look like he did, and they're gonna try to close it really fast, and they're gonna make everyone try to forget about it. So,
You can't kill
I
him.
mean, we'll see what happens. That's true, and we're gonna see what happens if any other CEOs drop. So,
And it's also
I'm
like you
sure.
heard it. Huh?
Go ahead.
Did you hear about that lady that got arrested?
I did, and I can't believe it, and I think that's messed up. I think that was a huge overreaction.
I couldn't agree more. And she also should have just kept her mouth shut instead of like admitting to it and apologizing for it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
I don't think that she'll get in any trouble though, because honestly, she didn't really threaten. Like for legally to make a threat, there has to be a certain specificity about it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like a time and a place. Like you can say, "I hope all you guys get hit with a bus." You can't say, "I'm gonna hit you guys with a bus at 4:30 on the corner of blah 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 on Thursday." Like something like that's a threat. So I think she'll be okay, but they're gonna try to make a big spectacle of it because they want to put fear into the populace.
Oh yeah, they're definitely going to try to make an example out of her.
Hmm.
And
But
like, when was the last time the justice system was justified? They can do anything they want.
yeah, we've seen that.
But but like just at base in terms of the legal definition of a threat, yes, like you're obviously right. She didn't threaten them. It's just like that is so we've heard about this lady, but like, did you hear about the walkouts? Did you hear about the protests? Did you hear about like, all the fucking people? Like, did you see that Fox News has been airing the fucking Luigi edits from TikTok?
No, I haven't. See, that's what I'm saying.
Bro, it's
It's coming into the
hilarious.
mainstream. Like TikTok's the new mainstream, dude.
It's like
Yeah.
I like and I think like one of the songs was like it was one of those it was like a hyper pop sped up like all of the things that people are like this is the most cringe because the teenage girls are doing it are the things that Fox News is putting on, and I'm just like yeah, because we're what, cringe was invented by capitalism. We are past the point of cringe. It is all now camp. And if
Yeah.
Fox News is putting fucking Luigi edits on, it's like
That's
it's
actually the
like
smartest thing that they can do because they're trying to stay relevant.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
But
That like
it's also leaking because like in a certain way, like TikTok represents a little bit of an underground community in a way. but it's so widespread. You know what I mean? Like my friend doesn't know about TikTok, but I tell him all the things about TikTok, you know? So it's kind of like underground, but it's a widespread community. There's all types of people.
Yeah.
So it's actually leaking into the mainstream consciousness. Like all the things that go on here are, getting dripped into the mainstream. So people who aren't part of TikTok are going, I heard about this thing, Luigi. What's this Luigi mean?
Yeah. Well, I think like the last time Fox News did something like this, it was that Chris dude crying about Britney Spears.
The
And of
kiss
course,
cube?
yeah, his name was Chris, and he was the white blonde guy with the sheet behind him, and he was like wearing mascara, and he was crying really hard.
Oh
He's
wow.
leave Britney alone, that guy.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
And Fox News aired that, and like you said earlier, people ridiculed, so they like ridiculed him for his appearance. However, so this is before TikTok. This was YouTube. Um, they used his likeness without his permission, and I think he was a brand for whatever that meant back in the before times.
Mhm.
And you can't use a person without their permission if they are associated with a brand.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if they issued an apology. It's just like they couldn't do it again or something.
So they're a little
Uh,
careful. Like they got burnt once, so they're being a little, I guess, have to make sure that they don't cross any legal boundaries before they do it again.
Yeah, and now they're like supposed to be legally defined as a parody since they like lost that the whole misinformation thing, that whole case, and that's
Hmm.
how Alex Jones and them got fired. So they aren't legally defined as news, and even though news is in the title, I don't know how
Yeah,
that's working these days.
it's
But
news entertainment or whatever.
yeah, what the fuck is that? So like because like we know what satirical news is. That was the Colbert Report. That's the Daily Show where they still report on things that have happened, but it's not meant to be biased. I mean, it's not meant to be unbiased. It's obviously biased.
Hmm.
Um, but you know what it is. It makes it very clear what it is versus Fox News who is setting themselves up to be actually news.
Right.
But I think that since they are now trying to spread this thing that they're parody, um they can play copywritten material question mark.
And that probably actually gives them a little bit of leeway because they can actually air stuff that maybe the other ones won't. Because the other ones, they don't want to sully their image, so to speak. But oftentimes, comedy is the venue of truth. So
Yes. And it's just the copyright laws are weird, and a lot of us are still wondering how Fox News has even lasted this long. But then it's like, I don't think that they're going to show Luigi edits on like CNN or well, MSNBC is shutting down, but it's like I'm starting to wonder like to like kind of pivot a little bit. I'm just kind of wondering like what's going on with like where's the line with copyright, because I know that hmm what does news count as? Does news like kind of transcend copyright?
I think no. I think like you can report on the same story and give pretty much the same facts because a lot of the news companies like they basically get their stuff off of a feed like the AP or something like that that puts
Mhm.
out like the basic story and then they can go and dig in and like get more details and like call people and assemble their own elaborations on the basic pieces.
Mm,
But I think so that part is copyrighted.
mm.
But like if they can't just take from somebody else's article. They have to give credit to them. You know what I'm saying?
So that
So
makes
they get
sense.
yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, no, that's it. They all get the news off of the same feeds, and then they do individual attempts to assemble the details.
And that makes sense. So technically like this is copywritten. Like
Yeah,
I
this is your copyright because this is yours.
yeah. But
you're the de facto owner.
yeah. And if TikTok didn't like how their product was being represented, because this is on TikTok, even though this is like my little piece of this greater platform, if Fox News took this and put it on their network and the bite dance was like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? They could get in trouble for that.
Yeah, but there's a they have like certain leeway. Like there's what's the freedom? I can't remember it. Freedom of use. So they can do like I think they can't do more than 30 seconds.
Oh.
Like they can do like a 30-second snippet for free or whatever,
Mm.
but like they can't play like they can't basically just replay your content and get money from it. But they
Well,
can do like a clip.
but that's where the micro content comes in because a lot of these edits are like 15 to 30
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So they get away with it. If it's like a minute, then they'd have to keep it to like 30 seconds.
Mm. Okay, that makes more sense. It's just like I don't know. I don't think like the modern problems are really meeting the modern solutions when it comes to copyright. And at the same time, in a world before copyright, people just told the stories that they wanted to tell and nobody was really worried about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're so here's the I mean, I can't say it's gonna happen. But like basically things like this, like TikTok, like everybody like it's what the internet was originally supposed to be. Like there's a TikTok feed for everything. If I want to look at goats playing all day, I can. I can go look at a feed of a machine just making clips just endlessly if I want to. So the thing is that micro content, like just individual people being their own producers of content, and then the people, the likes and sending gifts, all of this is laying an infrastructure for payment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the only thing we really need is a good way to look like, and I think it's going to happen with crypto, but we just need a good way to do micro payments. And people, like when people click on their favorite content in a few years, it'll be taking nickels or pennies or whatever from their bank account into somebody else's, and it'll be seamless. You wouldn't even need a third party.
Well, if you didn't need a third party, where would the content be posted?
Well, it'd be hosted on TikTok, and TikTok would get their money from ads, but they'll probably take a bit of it too. You're right. They would
Well,
take
yeah,
their cut.
because TikTok already does ads, and they started adding ads before. At first, it was just the scroll ads, but then they started putting ads after videos as well.
But I mean, we'll see. It'll be interesting. There's actually a book that talked about it.
Okay.
It's a zero. What's it? Zero crash. I think it was. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. People will be streaming themselves, and they'll get content and followers, and yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting.
Um, Speaking of TikTok, what do you think's going to happen with the ban?
I don't think it's gonna get banned, and even if it gets banned, I'm not taking it off my phone. And if I gotta
Okay.
jump through hoops to get to it, I will. And I think it's gonna be. I think it's all just a smokescreen. I think either they're gonna find a buyer for it, and but I don't think China wants to sell it. So I don't know. I think they'll make a deal.
So that's interesting. So why do you think it won't get banned?
Because it'll make America look bad. Like if we're supposed to be this free country where everyone has the right to express themselves, and you want us to, everyone likes TikTok. We found out about Hawaii on TikTok.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you're
No
right.
one, no one talked about Hawaii except TikTok, and they want to put us on these platforms like Facebook and Instagram that are censored,
Yeah.
right? And the American people know this. Like not everyone, but there's a large portion of people who are like, you know what? I can, for the most part, say what I want on TikTok, but I can't say what I want. I can't do the same thing on Instagram or Facebook. And people like TikTok, and then TikTok has a good algorithm. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the
Um,
people want it.
oh yeah, people very clearly want it. So the reason why I think TikTok won't get banned is because one of Donald Trump's top donors while he was campaigning is invested in ByteDance, and they've already had their little meeting. And then after they had their meeting, he was like, "I'm not gonna ban TikTok," and then immediately went on to make a TikTok account.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like people, I'm glad you remember it because nobody else seems to fucking remember it. And then he was asked in an interview recently, like, I think that the question was phrased poorly. She asked, "What are you going to do to protect TikTok, or how can you protect TikTok?" When I think something that would have forced him into a more straightforward answer would have been, "Are you going to ban TikTok?"
Hmm. I don't think you will.
He's not. It's just he's going to have to figure out how to unban it because the ban goes into effect the day before the inauguration.
And it's already been signed into law.
As far as I know, yeah.
Hmm.
It's already like since we know that there's a date for it to take effect, then yeah, and then it's after the inauguration. So like,
TikTok would have to file in court and do something to stay it until after Trump gets into office. And if Trump gets into office, he couldn't overturn it, but he could do an executive order and just ignore it.
yeah,
You
he
know what I
could.
mean?
So they already tried to sue. They lost. They put it through appeal. They lost the appeal again. Um, but they could do something else. Like this app is like worth 86 billion. Like they can
Mhm.
figure something out. Like far be it for me to brainstorm on their behalf. It's just like people are just gonna go get a VPN.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'll put
And
one on my phone
Android
right now.
do what?
I said I'll put one on my phone right now.
There's a apparently VPNs for Androids are a lot simpler than I thought they were. It's iPhone where you have to do something that would void your warranty.
Hmm. And then they'll think that's not on purpose.
Of course. Um, but yeah, so TikTok, what was explained to me is that TikTok will not just vanish from your phone. I didn't think that in the first place, but a lot of people thought that. It will be removed from the Play stores and you will not be able to update it. And eventually TikTok will stop working without the updates. However, you can download we're going to call it a different Play Store.
Hmm.
And
The Chinese
that,
one, I heard about that.
yeah. And, you'll download that. You will keep TikTok installed on your phone and you will be able to continue to get the updates and TikTok will continue to work.
So you know what's hilarious about that is that on the road that they're trying to take to make people get off TikTok, they're gonna make people more exposed to Chinese apps.
Yeah. Good job.
Oh, you gotta love it.
The American government is something else. And like, did you already know that TikTok is already banned in India?
No, I didn't know that.
TikTok is banned in India, and I found out like, no, there are plenty of Indian people on here, and I'm
I have
like,
seen them.
I
Why?
haven't seen them either.
Why is India? Why did India ban TikTok?
I do not know. I don't know why India banned TikTok.
Oh, I know why. It's because
Oh,
India's got beef with China. It's
yeah. I
like
mean,
Ukraine and Russia.
a lot of people have beef with China, but at the same time, India does business with China.
Yeah, but I mean they're neighbors, so you know what that's like.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But like, I don't think India went off on this whole. They're trying to spy on us and shit, and it's like, no, if they want something, they'll just ask. They're China and your neighbors. They can literally just ask.
And that's the thing that gets like if they don't ask it, they can just buy it. I mean, there's a
Literally.
million. There's. It's not like we don't sell this information. Like, come on.
Literally. But like the thing about America is that we don't have an excuse because we have Facebook and Google. It's like, oh, you care about our data because it's China, but
I
you don't
know.
care about Mark Zuckerberg? Like, come
That's
on.
the and that's the thing. I'd rather China have my info than the United States because China is not going to care about me. I mean, how often am I in China? Not very.
Exactly. What China's gonna do fuck all with that information. It's Mark Zuckerberg you need to worry about.
Exactly. Did
Like
you hear about
Elon
the
Musk. Come
Did
on.
you hear about the Facebook experiment when they deliberately made girls feel depressed?
I did hear about that. Yeah. They were it's two things. It was the Facebook experiment and it's the what I feel like is an ongoing experiment of how major social media platforms rise negative news to the top.
Mm.
And it basically affects like the overall conscious of like the population.
Yeah. And you know they're doing experiments on it. That's probably why they want to get rid of TikTok. 'Cause they don't want anybody else playing in their sandbox.
I mean, what else do they have to lose at this point? Like all it is China. Like who gives like we exist on the same planet with them bitches. Like who cares?
Yeah. Well, you know what the problem is? Well,
No, go ahead.
the, the problem is that in my opinion, we can't let other big players get too big. You know what I mean? Like we keep trying to make sure that they can't get big enough to mess with us. But the problem is that that's going to have unexpected consequences, in my
Hmm,
opinion.
like what?
Well, like China and Russia uh, ganging up on us, like they're already getting ready to do. Like we spent so much time messing with China, messing with Russia, and China and Russia didn't like each other. They had problems with each other, and then they finally said, you know what? Whatever beef we have between us, this bigger dude keeps putting his foot on our necks, and we're getting tired of it. If we gang up together, we can maybe take him, and
Oh,
that's
so you know about bricks?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I don't need to explain it to you then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a perfect example. Yeah, that's them making chess moves that they didn't make before. Like, okay, you guys want to play like that? We'll play like this, and we're gonna regret it, I think. So it'd be nice if we cooled it off a little, but we'll see.
I mean, they're making friends with African countries too. So, I mean, like in Africa having all those resources,
And
I mean, if that can they can effectively exclude us from the international economy.
absolutely, that's absolutely right. You're absolutely right, and that's the kind of chess game they're playing. And honestly, I gotta tell you, if I saw any African, I would be like, "Yo, trust the Russians. They were never involved in the slave trade.
I mean,
They
Africa has much less history in fucking Russia has much less history in fucking Africa over.
Yeah, no, like I said, they were never involved in the slave trade, and if you go to any church in Russia, you will see a black Jesus.
Oh yeah,
It is,
definitely.
it is not controversial.
I've actually heard that before. Um, but it's supposed to be for a mutual benefit where bully, oh, you don't believe that we have any allies. Hey Dutch. Uh yeah, yeah, basically. And we never stay consistent with whatever side we pick because we sell weapons to everybody. We don't care who.
Yeah, we do both sides.
Like how many countries are sick of catching us in that shit?
That's what I'm saying. I think there's a lot of things that are coming together that could either. I mean, I don't. The thing is, I don't really feel negative. I feel like we're going to enter a golden age. I think a lot of people are waking up to the things that are going on. Like before, like what you just said about the selling arms to both sides. How many people knew that even 10 years ago?
Right. And then more people just know it now.
Yeah, it's like almost it's common knowledge now. Like people are reinforcing and spreading like what's actually going on, and I think they're waking up. That's why people aren't mad about Luigi.
Oh yeah, the class consciousness is class consciousness thing.
Yeah, people are
But
realizing it's us against them.
yeah, it's not left versus right, it's up versus down.
It's true. That's exactly right.
And it's like I'm honestly surprised that at this point we still don't have the whatever gun laws it would take to be make school shootings more punishable. I don't know what we're even trying to do with
Well,
that.
well, the
Like,
problem is there's nothing that you really can do. Like the only thing that you could really do, in my opinion, is monitor. Because I'm always really interested in knowing what the toxicology reports are for these kids. Like, what was the kid on when he decided to go and start popping? You know what I
well, it's
mean?
always a kid though.
I know it's not always a kid, but I'm just saying, like for the kids who do it, I want to know what they're on. For anyone who does it, I want to know what they're on. Because for all I know, I don't know about you, but I think we've all dabbled in the recreational pharmaceuticals here and there, right?
Okay.
And like there have been times where I was like, whoa, this is not like just creepy bad feelings. Only once or twice, but it's happened, right?
Yeah.
So it's not above the pale for me to say some kid was on some prescription drug. Maybe the dosage got wrong. Maybe his hormones changed. Who knows, right? Maybe he was getting older, and I have no idea. But for whatever reason, maybe it was a bad mix, and then he just, he thought he was going after gremlins or something. I don't know. But like,
Well, you know that the
I'm not saying that to make an excuse. I'm just saying I'd like to know what the motivation is.
yeah, it's like it's one thing when it's bullying. It's one thing when it's a kid who goes to that school who has had certain experiences, and it's another when it's an adult who never went to that school, doesn't know any of those people. To
Yeah,
not to say that either of those things should happen, but it's like I feel like there's an obvious metric going on.
I agree. Exactly. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to distinguish.
Yeah. Um and
But
it's like how did but somebody kind of explained it like because like these you know how like these young adult boys seem to really be hey Polly these young adult boys seem to be really fawning over like Anakin Skywalker
yeah,
and Aaron from Attack on Titan
yeah.
and like these genocidal white men like uh I so this is the part where I sound like an old fuddy duddy and I start blaming the video games and shit. But like lack of media literacy has led these certain demographics into idolizing these people rather than understanding that they were the problem.
Are you familiar with the AI translations of Smittler's speeches?
No, I'm not.
Well, apparently there are German to English translations of his actual speeches, and they're very popular.
Hmm.
Oh
I did
yeah,
not know that.
and actually there was an article not too long ago that was expressed concern over the popularity. Yeah, I think you can find it if you go, like TikTok, Smittler AI translation or something like that. That should be enough. And
Okay.
yeah, and what I will say on that is that there are certain tropes that move all humans.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a good orator and you have rhetoric and you appeal to the survival of the race or the country or the women or the children, you can spur men into action. You know, and I'm not saying that's any particular race, that goes for every human. But if you
Yeah, I
hit
feel
on
that.
certain topics, you can capture people's fighting spirit, I guess you could say. And
Yeah.
Smittler, I think, was good at it. And the whole thing, like you said about Aaron and Anakin and all that stuff, these are themes that, they pull on the people's consciousness.
I think that if you told somebody that this is a Hitler quote, they would be like, "Oh shit, that's Hitler. I don't want to fuck with that." But then you give them fictional characters like Aaron and Anakin, and they're like, "Oh shit, that dude looks cool."
That dude's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, cause
I
like
understand.
yeah. So what you're saying is true, and I agree with you. And also, Dutch said that they also did that with Stalin's speeches, which
Hmm.
like Stalin is a different topic. I know, But
But they were
it's
both
like,
leaders of men. They both were able to move countries with their speeches.
but Hitler and Stalin aren't as cool as Aaron.
No, I agree. I agree. Like I
And
said, you gotta tailor it for the audience, but it's the same type of theme.
right. Okay. I'm piecing it together because it's like I feel like if I put Hitler's speech on TV or on the internet or whatever, teenage boys would not flock to a man with a slick back hair and a weird mustache and a very obviously uncomfortable uniform and be like, "Oh, that's the shit." But if I put somebody slaying giants on TV, they'd be like, "Oh, fuck. I would like to slay giants."
Because honestly, if you look at Attack on Titan, it literally is kind of like the story of Germany. The whole island that's beset by outside forces, the call to nationalism, the call that they're special, they're like gifted from the gods to rule, and they need organization. Like all of it comes together. It actually tells the story of pre-World War II Germany. Because they,
Yes.
well, yeah.
So I read the article. So I never
Okay,
watched
so
Attack on Titan, but I read the article
mhm.
about the parallels between Nazi Germany and Attack on Titan.
Oh
And there's
yeah,
also an article about how I think one of the original writers is a Holocaust apologist.
I believe it.
Yeah, just
If you
straight
watch
up.
it, like if you watch Attack on Titan, and you should, it's really good. It actually made me scared of giants. I was always like, giants are full of bullshit. I never was really, but no, this shit'll make you scared of giants. But it actually, like, if you look at it, it's almost like it's a historical thing told in a different context. If you just
Yeah, I
place
know what
the,
it's about.
yeah. But yeah, no,
Uh,
I don't disagree. And
and
this is the thing, we're in a media war too.
yeah, also that. We're losing the what we're losing what I think it's called soft power. We're losing the
Hmm.
soft power.
Yeah.
But there's also Full Metal Alchemist 2003, the movie that ends the anime Conquer of Shambhala, which is also pre World War II.
You want to know what else was pre World War II?
What?
The saga of Tanya the Evil.
I have never heard of that. What is that?
Oh, it's great. Some psycho gets unalived and goes back to a different world, and he's born inside of a little girl. And so he's like this 12-year-old girl, and the being that transported him to the new world is like the god figure and wants to make a bet that he'll worship him. So he basically grows up in pre World War II Germany,
Hmm.
and he, excuse me, sorry, I got something in my throat.
You're
But
good.
basically he uses his knowledge or her knowledge now because she's like a little girl.
Yeah.
Her knowledge of pre World War II Germany to basically guide her country in the same way and win.
Hmm.
Like, and it's set in a magical world, so they have like magic and stuff. So saying like she uses like German tactics like the Blitzkrieg and all that stuff. Just it's
Yeah,
pretty.
I actually did hear about that anime. I heard about that anime shortly before it came out and then after it came out and then nobody really talked about it anymore because like at that point people like the progress of anime and its subcultures have ebbed and flowed and by the time Tanya came out, people were actually sick of little girls.
Yeah, I
Like
think
I
so.
know that's an odd statement. Hear me out. People were sick of like little girls and like weird situations.
Hmm. I
But yeah,
understand
I do
exactly what
remember
you
that.
mean. But it's actually pretty good. You should watch it. It's not bad.
I don't even know where I would I don't even know where I would find that. That's like one of those more obscure animes that people were very much ready to let fade into obscurity.
Yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, that was the fact when I read about that, I was like, huh, they really just said, yeah, we sided with Nazi Germany before, we would side with them again. And I'm
and they
like,
did,
don't
and they would. That's not a
why would
secret
you double down on some shit like that?
because they ain't sorry. It's just, dude, they're just wait. Like that's one thing I say about the Japanese. They're just waiting. they're not gonna forget. They're like, dude, you're just gonna. And actually, I was in Europe somewhere. I forgot. It
Hmm.
was like somewhere between Germany and Russia, and it was a site of a major battle, right?
Mhm.
And I remember saying the thing is about this place is in 200 years, people are gonna be fighting here all over again. Like the same stuff that caused it before is gonna cause it again. It's
Hmm.
all gonna happen. All it's just gonna, slightly different ways, but
Yeah, I saw a video that was it was about Luigi, but it was like, yeah, the person that we call these terrorists and whatnot, the people who commit direct violence in the way that we're used to seeing it are built different from the people who make the drones and press the buttons on the drones. The people who operate drones are more closely wired to like you and I
hmm
versus the trauma that somebody has of committing that interpersonal, like what we're going to call on the street violence.
yeah. I mean, he went. I'm assuming it was him. He went there, and like he had like he basically. I agree that it's more of a visceral experience over being there yourself and seeing the person move in and breathe in and making the decision to pull as opposed to
Yeah.
just pushing a button on someone on a screen. Like you could do that all day.
Yeah.
But I think
But
he'll
it's
get
like,
respect, and I honestly I don't think they're gonna find a jury to convict him.
yeah,
I
that's what I'm
really,
saying. It was, how are you gonna, so how much is a jury? 18?
yeah, I think so, yeah.
How are you gonna find 18 unbiased people?
And apparently, people are already offering to pay for his defense. Like his defense has
Yeah.
already been paid for.
I don't know the means of the lawyer. I do know that the attorney that he has for Pennsylvania was hired privately, but there are TikTok lawyers who are real legit ass lawyers offering to take his case for free. Luigi
Yeah,
said
yeah. He has a lot of
it's just
support.
like, so for to circle back around to the topic, and thank you for bringing us back to the topic. Um, so I think that if the lawyer in Pennsylvania uh does the thing, we're not going to have a case in New York because he was apprehended in Pennsylvania. Um, if like if the lawyer in Pennsylvania doesn't do the thing, then the case goes to New York because New York is where the crime happened. But the lawyer in Pennsylvania is going to do the thing. Have you seen the lawyer?
I have. I haven't seen a lot. I've seen like maybe 3 or 4 clips.
I haven't seen a lot either, but I've heard a lot, and like I've heard a lot from other lawyers, and apparently this guy is hilarious, and like in a very, he's hilarious in a stern, old school,
Yeah, lawyer
theatrical
way.
lawyer way.
Yeah.
And like people forget Johnny Cochran came out of Pennsylvania. I'm just saying.
No, I saw one clip where he's basically like he hasn't seen a bit of evidence yet.
Yeah, the hand,
Nothing.
like he went on my hand.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I saw the clip where he was getting post interviewed, like, how's Luigi feeling? And he was like, fucking guess. And
Yeah. Dude's in there
like,
for murder. Murder. Sorry.
no,
How do
you're
you?
good. He's in
But
Rikers. How do you think he feels?
yeah, Rikers ain't cool. But the
And
nice thing
like,
is, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
he's not in solitary confinement, but he is in a single cell and he doesn't have access to TV like some of them do. And
Mhm.
I think they're also withholding his access to technology like tablets and stuff. So yeah, I think the only person that might be able to get through to him that he's supported is his lawyer, and so he has an address now. You can mail him, but the prison can decide to not give you your mail.
Yeah. So if you write them anything that's encouraging or uplifting, they're gonna swipe it.
Yeah.
They're basically gonna they're basically gonna pull out a lot of stops. They're gonna try to psychologically warfare him. But the nice thing is that he knows he has the support of the people. I'm pretty sure the people inside the prison or the jail, they're not gonna mess with him. Like
Right.
He's good.
Yeah, he's safe. He's quite
Yeah.
safe.
So
Like,
go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just emphasizing what you were saying.
Yeah. So he's good there. He had like, I honestly like, if I were him, I know it's gonna be hard for him to like relax. But it's like, dude, when you go to trial, literally the way people feel, no one's gonna convict you. Like they can literally have you all the evidence in the world, and people are just gonna be like, "So what? We choose not to convict." Like, and
Damn,
you're,
it's almost like people have rights.
I know, and that is perfectly legal. That's literally is what they can do. They just like, you know what? We don't think he did it. Sorry, we don't care
Yeah.
what you say. He's innocent.
Well, isn't jury nullification literally we don't care that he did it?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Like whether he did it or not, like fuck him.
Yeah, basically, that's
I love
exactly
it.
right. It's like we know he did it, but we don't really think it was a crime. Even if he did it, like the Chappelle thing, and even if he did it, you know,
Just saying. Just saying.
eh, we'll let him slide.
And that's
So,
like that's one of the tenets of jury nullification is like if it is it can be illegal, but if the jury thinks it was morally just, they
mhm,
can just let you go.
yeah, and that's designed for, and that's a good thing to have because that's designed for like if you did a justifiable unaliving, for instance, and the state was really on you, the jury could be like, you know what, no, let this man free. And I honestly think that's what's going to happen. I don't
I
think they're
think that's
gonna.
what's gonna happen. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead.
I think that's what's gonna happen if they can even find an unbiased jury to start with.
Yeah.
It's like I mean like jury no like we would all love to see it. I am 100% in agreement with you. We would all love to see a true jury nullification. However, step 1, find an unbiased jury, find an unbiased prosecutor, find an unbiased judge.
Yeah, and that's going to be really difficult. This case has already got notoriety. Everyone's heard of it.
Yeah.
So, and
And
everyone has an
somebody made
opinion on it.
oh, yeah. And somebody made the somebody has made the TikTok of no, I have a bad experience. Like they denied my claim for my medication after my hip surgery. They
Yeah.
denied my claim for like they denied my arthritis physical therapy. Um
I am
my
so
mom, the list goes on.
I am so glad you brought that up because that brings me to a point. Imagine the discovery. Imagine when Luigi's lawyer says, "Hey, I want to see all the rejections that this company did. I want to see if the rejections increased with this CEO. I want to see how many people could have gotten treated and aren't here anymore and were denied." Like let's dig into that. Let's let the jury see all of that. Let's do some math.
I
Let's
didn't
do
even
some
think about that.
let's do some math. Cause this
Oh
cause
no.
let's see how many profits you guys got versus how many rejections you guys gave out and how much of compensation the CEO got because of it.
You saw that clip of Elizabeth Warren grilling Brian Thompson, right?
Oh yeah.
We're done. We're
Yep.
done. It's
Yep.
over.
It's a wrap. That's gonna be
We're
great. And everyone's
we're
gonna watch it. It's not like
and
it's not like it's gonna be one of those, oh, we're not gonna look like, no, bro, court TV, bro. Everyone is gonna be watching this trial.
they gonna live stream this shit.
Oh
This
yeah.
is going to be live streamed on every major news broadcaster across all the platforms. Even Instagram won't be safe.
It's too big. It's too big. How could you not? You know, the first person that does it is going to get like millions viewers. So they're all going to try to get a piece of that pie. So of course they're going
Yeah.
to stream it. I
It's
just want to see
it's
that.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I just want to see that. I just want to see the discovery. I just want to see how many rejections they gave out each year. And I want to do some math.
I like we are but we already know, right? Like
I know.
everybody
We know.
Like,
That's it. Everybody knows. You and I are on totally opposites of the political divide, and we both know. This is the one thing that is truly uniting America. No one cares about the CEO.
I live in Minnesota. I think you already know that. You've been hanging out for a while.
Yeah.
And like Tim Walz and Amy Klobuchar were like, shout out to the families. And we're like, the families are gonna be grieving with the money that this man got from denying people diabetes medication. Fuck off.
Exactly. Exactly. All this dude's money, and trust me, his family's going to be comfortable. They're going to be okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I get that they lost their husband and father, and I truly, on a human level, am sorry for that. But
Yes.
with that being said, he did he if there's a cartel, head of a cartel that gets unalived, I'm sorry for his wife and children too, but in a large sense, he did have it coming. And I feel
Yeah.
that the same logic applies to the CEO.
And I feel like, and I agree with you, nobody is celebrating the death of a human being. Nobody's celebrating the death of a father, a husband, a son, a nephew. That's not what this is about. This is about how he is responsible for the deaths of fathers and sons and nephews and husbands and daughters, nieces, nephews,
Yep.
well, whatever else have you. It's about that.
Yeah. It's about that every time this dude got a bonus or bought a new car or bought a boat or got on a plane or is like they did it on the back of other people suffering.
Exactly. Which is why like I hear you and I agree with you. Um Shout out to his wife and kids. However, you will be able to afford the health care that will help you grieve
Yep.
with the money of the people who were denied and had to pay in anyway.
Facts. 100%.
So like it's not even it's just it's uncomparable.
I
It's
mean, you
like
can't deny it. It's a fact. It's literally a
even
fact.
no, I'm just saying like even if Luigi did this, let's say Luigi just killed one person versus all the people that Brian Thompson is responsible for.
And the thing is that Luigi's actions, if in fact they were his, all that,
Yeah,
have already
allegedly.
had a positive effect. It literally changed policy at like other CEOs of that, like that Anaheim with the anesthesia. They're
Yeah.
gonna dial down your anesthesia while you're under in surgery to 50%
Mm,
to save costs. Oh,
mm,
you're already under. You won't feel it. Let's just turn it
mm.
off. Like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to wake up in the middle of a surgery, bro. Are you kidding me?
And then there's I heard about this law that they're trying to pass. The people over I forgot what it's called. I just heard about it today, so please excuse me.
No
But
worries.
Elizabeth Warren and somebody else who is apparently prominent are co-signing this bill that from what I perceive will effectively not allow a high rate of denials. I don't think it'll totally wipe out denials, but it will like it'll start putting caps on how much a company can deny.
I mean, I'm 100% for that because as far as I'm concerned, if you pay into it and something happens, they should have to pay out. It should not
Exactly.
be a they should not be a profit thing where like, oh, we're gonna make millions of dollars and all these people paying in for us to help them in their time of need and then denying them when it happens. That's like scammy.
It's a scam. It really
It's
is. The American
yeah,
healthcare system is a fucking scam.
I agree.
And who else do you know does that?
No one
Like,
else. Dude, I have been to Europe and I've had things happen. Like I slipped in the bathroom and cut my head or whatever. Had to get
oh,
stitches. Went in there. It was done well. It was clean. It was advanced, and it was free. I literally paid nothing. I was shocked. I thought I was like, oh man, I don't even have travel insurance. I'm gonna be screwed. They're like, no, dude, just come in, and they did a good job. Like, you know how sometimes you can go in and get done something done for free, and they kind of do a crap job of it just because it was, that you didn't pay for it. Or whatever. No, this dude did a great job. Like like little stitches, like tiny ones. It was great.
oh. Like
I was,
those like really thin ones?
yeah, like the super thin, small ones. You know what I mean? He did it from the inside. Like he didn't just like do a hack job of it. He did it really good, and I was like, this is the way it should be. Like I should be
Period.
able to just walk in and be like, hey, this happened. And be like, hey, come in, sit down. We'll take care of you. Off you go.
Period. That's it.
That was it.
What is so I've heard of traveler's insurance before, but what does that do?
Basically, if anything happens, you have like if you pay like $100, they give you like 1,000 or 5,000 of money. So if anything happens to you, you have to go to the hospital. They'll give the hospital that money. So if you go overseas and like you break your leg, you have to go to their hospital. If they charge you, you're not like completely out of pocket. But honestly,
Um,
like I said, not every country, but like a lot of countries, it's not very expensive.
right. Um, do you only pay it once?
Yeah, it's like once per trip.
Oh, it's once per trip.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like
Okay. Okay.
so like if you go somewhere, it's for like a certain period of days or whatever.
Okay. That's thank you for telling me that.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually a good idea because if anything happens and you're somewhere, you don't have to dip into your travel funds.
Oh yeah, that's good advice. If I'm the goal is to travel foreign, so I will definitely consider that.
Mhm. For sure.
And then there's also other insurances, right? There's also renter's insurance. You only have to pay that once. Well,
Hmm.
renter's insurance is different. Some people only have to pay it once. My partner, he paid once. But I know somebody else who pays once a year.
Hmm.
Um, and if something happens, they just pay out. You just
Yeah,
get that.
yeah. Like, and it's good because it covers a lot of stuff.
It does.
Hmm.
Back in September, there was a fire, and the apartment caught on fire, and they somebody told me after the apartment caught on fire, it was a person who lived in the apartments caught on across the street. The person told me that Blue Cross Blue Shield, not Blue Cross Blue Shield, I'm sorry, Red Cross wouldn't help them because they didn't have renter's insurance at their place. And I was like, what the fuck does that have to do with disaster relief?
Right.
And because the place caught on fire, like it's not like some other shit happened. But yeah, Red Cross said that they wouldn't help them because they didn't have renter's insurance. They just left them. So I'm just like,
That's kind of cold-blooded. That sounds like just another excuse to deny people in their time of need.
is what how can we consider ourselves living in a civilized society when shit like that happens? That's my thing.
The truth is, honestly, we don't live in a civilized society. Our society is just kind of screwed up. That's
Oof.
I mean, we're alchemized to it because we're
Yeah.
used to it,
Yes.
so we don't really see it. And if you go to other countries, you kind of like there's always a period when you come back where you kind of like feel out of sync with America. You're like, dude, like because you were somewhere where life was different. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But our culture is really kind of messed up. Like I remember I was with a friend and we were watching. I think we were watching a movie or something, and there was some pew pewing and all this stuff, and like we were talking about it, and I was like, "Do you realize how militarized we are? Like we know about seeking cover, about reloading, about like all these like it's part of our parlance. Like we just we're if you look at other societies compared to us, we're super militarized,
Yeah.
and we don't even realize it for the most part.
Yeah, that's facts. Like we really are. But like, Top Gun and shit like that, that's some expensive propaganda and it worked.
Yeah, I agree, and it's definitely propaganda, and it definitely worked, and they definitely do it.
And then they
All the
redid Top Gun.
Transformers movies, that was straight psyops.
You think Transformers was psyops?
Well, if you look at the military aspect of it, like just watch the Transformers movie and watch when they flash to all the scenes of the armed forces. Like that's when all
Oh.
the music, all that music kicks in, and dun 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 dun, 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 and all these dudes gearing up. "Yeah, we're gonna fight the Decepticons. Let's go, hoorah!" And it's like, oh my god, like we're gassing each other up, dude.
Well, it's like you're just the. It's not that I don't believe you. It's just you're the first person to call the Transformers movie a psyop. I don't have a reason to disagree with you. I didn't watch it because M Night Shyamalan needs help.
I
But
agree. M. Night Shyamalan is awesome. I love his stuff. Glass is the best. Glass is the best trilogy ever. Split and Glass.
did you
Have you seen it?
see what was it? The fucking The Last Airbender? That was M Night
Yeah.
Shyamalan, right?
Well, the thing is about The Last Airbender is I don't blame M. Night Shyamalan for that
Hmm.
because he got interfered with. Like the producer, the reason that he had to go with the Caucasians is because the producer, that the girl, the waterbender chick, I forgot her name. The not Toph, Aang's girlfriend, the water, the female waterbender.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
She was the daughter of the producer. So the
Bruh.
producer basically said, "You got to put my daughter in as this part, otherwise I'm not going to produce your movie." And so that's why they had to make him all Snow White. And I was like, no.
I didn't know that. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, so I don't blame him for that. That's not his fault.
No, I'll give. It's just like it was also a matter of like the Asians were the bad guys again. It's like, come on, man, and it's like, Aang White, really? Like
Yeah.
I think all of these places are like parodies of real places. So it's like, no, Aang would be like, for all intents and purposes, I would say like IRL, Aang would be like Korean.
I could say Korean or Mongolian, maybe. Maybe
Yeah,
even
Korean
Tibetan,
Mongolian.
but then you got to worry about China.
Yeah, well, like, well, what would the Fire Nation effectively be
I would say the
if
Fire Nation would
Aang?
be Japan. Japan or
Hmm.
maybe Mongolians. Like if you made Aang a Tibetan, I could see the Fire Nation being either Mongolian or Japanese or some mix of the two.
Okay. I, based on historical evidence, I don't have a rebuttal.
Yeah, I mean it would work, right?
Yeah, I have nothing to say to that. That,
Toffee.
like, I never thought about that, and I'm very shocked.
And I could definitely see the Mongolians being firebenders. I could see them on their horses, like
Yes.
shooting the arrows. I could see it.
I agree with you right up until the point where everything to catch this one child fails.
Yeah,
Because the Mongolians were smarter than that.
I don't think they would have fallen. I think yeah, they would have done something ruthless.
Yeah.
They would have gone, they would have found their family members or something and be like, yo, you guys show up or bad things happen.
So for
But,
Aang, they couldn't do that, but the others would probably have to leave Aang's side
mm-hmm,
because they had families. But Aang is like, nah, y'all already killed my folks. What's
I
good?
know. Dude, I want another airbender story. I want the next cycle.
Oh, you didn't see the Legend of Korra?
I saw that one, but I want the next one after that. Like, I want four of them.
Oh, you
I
want
want
to
at
see
least,
like what happens with Aang's kids?
yeah, I want to see like Earth. I want to see because there's gonna be another one. Like so he was air,
Hmm.
Korra was water. So the next one's got to be Earth, right? And then fire. So I want to see the last two avatars, each in their different element. They got to make at
Oh,
least two more.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
they don't have to, but I mean it would complete me. It would complete the cycle.
I feel you. I feel that. Yeah, seeing a fire bending uh a firebender start from that point would be interesting because like the firebenders are super imperialist. Like it would be really dark though because they would immediately once they found out they would immediately try to weaponize that kid.
And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm not saying that it's a good thing, but I'm okay with the dark movie. I'm okay with him, like, having to go through a period of darkness. Like that's just the hero's journey.
We're gonna need a
Like
lot of media literacy to make that to make him not turn into Anakin Skywalker.
yeah, Anakin, but turn good. Like they just got to reverse it. Like he starts out bad, and then like he meets his the teachers of the other elements as he's being used as a weapon, and he realizes the error of his ways, and he goes against his masters, and then they have to like train him up so he can defeat the Fire Nation.
Yeah, basically, it would be about defeating the Fire Nation ultimately because they keep trying to like conquer people.
Yeah, I mean they can burn people. So.
Yeah, and like the, I mean, waterbenders need a little bit of extra help, but that doesn't mean that they're not effective.
No, I mean, agreed. The waterbenders are cool. I mean, I like all of them, but like
I do
the
too.
thing is with the firebenders are the most obviously aggressive.
Yes. So if so let's keep with that logic, right? If the airbenders are
Mhm.
Tibet and the Fire Nation is Japan or Mongolia or a combination of the two, then who is the Earth Nation?
Earth Nation can be China, Chinese.
Okay.
That
Okay.
actually would makes yeah, Chinese.
Who would be the Water Nation?
That's a good question. Let me see. Well, they gotta be from somewhere cold, right? So they gotta be from one of the poles. They're from the north, so they gotta be either Eskimos, the Inuit, but they'd have to really be Inuit, like no, no
Like, yeah.
pale, no pale faces.
Yeah, exactly. Like actually be natives of that land.
Yeah,
I would think that the Earth Nation would actually be, and this is going to sound weird, but it would be South America.
I'd be down for that too. That's fine. I could
Yeah.
see that, like the Aztecs, the Aztec types.
Yeah, that's what I would honestly put the Earth Nation in like Brazil, Peru, all of that. The whole
Yeah,
South
no,
America.
I could see it. It would work. It would actually
Uh,
work.
So I do want to point out what Dutch said, but I feel like you corrected yourself when you realized what you said.
What did I say?
Oh, you said Eskimo. That's considered a slur now.
Oh, is it? I apologize.
Yeah.
I it was not intentional.
No, it's like there are some people who don't know that. So and you also used a different word. So like a part of me is like, did you correct yourself? But like, yeah, that word is a slur now.
Oh, no worries. Good to know. But no, I said Inuit because that's the actual name of the tribe. But
Yeah.
that's, I mean, that's just, I'm sure that's just one of many of the tribes, but that's just the one I knew of. So.
Yeah, agreed. Hey, M. Um, but yeah, they would actually have to be yeah, I
Yeah,
think
like they would
yeah.
have to. And the thing is, like, there's plenty of beautiful examples of their people. Like, there's no problem with the casting. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I
But like
agree.
I said, the only reason they did it is because of the producer.
Yeah, and then they were like, "Well, we got to make all of them white now," and we're like, "They're not
It's gonna look
white."
weird if we mix them up.
It's gonna look weird if we mix them up, but we're gonna make all of the fucking Earth. We're gonna make the Fire Nation India. Like,
Yeah.
bitch, what happened? Where did we go wrong? Like, what happened? But like, I don't know if we had the last airbender. Well, it wouldn't be the last airbender, but like if we had this take place start from the Earth Nation,
Mhm.
um, I think that this it would be a story of like severe political strife because the Earth Nation in the last airbender was very politically torn.
Oh yeah. What I wanted to see if they do like from the Earth side is I want him to not know that he's the Avatar. He's
Why?
just really good at airbending, but he has no idea, and they don't find him. You know what I'm saying? Like so, they're looking for him. They know but he just he goes he stays undiscovered discovered for some reason, and then he sees like I want him to be like from the lower echelon. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I want him to see the problems of the Earth Nation, and then you know find some way to fix them.
Okay. Well, like somebody explained to me that like being a bender is like in your blood. So like unless you are born from the avatar, you can only like be a bender of the place where you were born. So like um the Earth Nation will only have earth benders, the Fire Nation will only have fire benders, so on and so forth. Well, also plasma benders, so on and so forth.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
But like he'll be born in the Earth Nation or
mhm.
whatever, but like they won't know that he's the Avatar for whatever reason.
Yeah, so
Uh,
it would just be him kind of like figuring out that he's the avatar without knowing.
right. Because like sometimes they just do it spontaneously. Like Korra was throwing fireballs when she was like 5 years old, right? But
Yeah.
Aang had a large problem using the other elements, like until like even though he knew he was the Avatar, you know what I
Yes.
mean? So I want this guy just to never, he never did a fireball 'cause he never tried. And then maybe one day it happens and he discovers it, but he stays undercover for most of his childhood. Like they don't find him as a child, basically.
Oh, like it more like closer to an adult, like they did with Cora.
Right, exactly.
Okay, that's also fair. I'm also like tired of like the whole child prodigy trope. Like, nah, adults can be cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was fine if it was done like once, like it did with Aang or whatever. Like, that's cool. And I get because you want to appeal to kids, but now, it's kind of the audience has kind of matured, I think. And there's nothing wrong, I think, with just because the thing is a large part, like part of the story that I want to tell with the third one would be like unrealized potential. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like he spent a large part of his life not knowing, and he's got to make up, kind of.
Yeah, I feel that.
And
And then
then the
it,
fire. Go ahead. Sorry.
what would be the problem that would be presented for him to emerge as the avatar?
Probably class warfare, or not class warfare, class strife. Because I want him to be born in the lower class, so I want him to see like basically how the lower classes suffer, and then I want him to try to like try to change the Earth Nation to, I don't know. You can make it a story about like class upheaval, like he's a champion for the poor people.
Okay. Well, like we did establish, like I said earlier, like for the Earth Nation, it would definitely be a political strife, but it's like,
Mm.
so let me ask that more clearly. What would be a, what would be the problem that the Avatar would be able to resolve? Would the Avatar be able to resolve political strife?
That's a good question. I mean, I feel like I want to. I feel like there should be something about like because it has to usually it has some kind of parallel with modern events, right? So
Yeah.
maybe like the haves and the have-nots, because it seemed like there was a lot of people who were really rich in Boston, say, and then people who were really poor. So maybe some kind of because remember how the city was stratified, like the outer rings were the poor people, and the closer you got to the center, the more affluent and like nice the areas became.
Yeah.
Like maybe something along those lines. But as far as political, I mean, they could be at war. They could be like another Fire Nation thing. But I feel like if you tell too many stories of the various nations trying to flex, you know what I mean? It might get stale.
Yeah, it's like you can really only do it once, and then it's like people just will eventually start asking, like, damn, why is the Fire Nation so bent on world domination, but they keep fumbling with like this one fucking thing?
And the thing is, if the Fire Nation story comes about and they get him as a kid, like they find him as a very young kid and they train him up,
Right.
and then they use him to try to like take over the world, and he doesn't like realize it until he has his epiphany moment. That would be like, as far as the storytelling goes, like, yeah, we finally got our chance now.
Yeah. And the Fire Nation has not the Fire Nation, the Earth Nation has never. I don't think the Earth Nation was ever represented as Well, it's kind of weird to describe the Earth Nation because, like, during the last Airbender, the Earth Nation was represented as very torn, but only within itself, because
Mhm.
there half of the Earth Nation was invaded, and the other half of the Earth Nation was like, "There's no invasion. The fuck are you talking
Yeah,
about?"
he didn't even know.
Yeah, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So like the Earth Nation would just the story with the Avatar starting from the Earth Nation would be a lot more complicated. And is that a story that they are willing to tell?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, though, I hope not to be disappointed, but I think there's a certain contingent in the media that tries to not give us cool stuff. Like it's like, this would be cool, but let's dial this down a little bit. I'm like, dude, this could have been so awesome. So we're basically saying what would be like a perfect story or whatever. Because if they
Mhm.
did that, I would watch the hell out of that series, all 4 seasons. They
Oh
can give
yeah.
me four or 5 seasons of the Avatar and Boston say learning about other skills, trying to and that would be a funny thing. Like, where would he find them in Boston say? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Where's
real.
he
You're
gonna
right.
find a firebender? But they
It's
could do
like,
really. Go ahead, sorry.
but with that being said, maybe the story would be the Earth Nation has like let's say like this is the early stages of the Earth Nation reaching class consciousness, like where we are now,
Hmm.
and they are banning firebending. Not that they're like anybody here can just firebend, but they ban firebending as like a testament to how they fucked up last time. And it's
Hmm.
like, oh well, the Avatar's born here now. What are you gonna do?
Right, right.
And then he would be from like a lower, I don't know if the Earth Nation has castes, but like depending on what time in which this story takes place, cultures can change and they can have a caste system to make it more straightforward to the audience. And he'd be born in a lower caste, and people in the higher caste are kind of waiting on one of them to produce the avatar. But then
Right.
this kid out of nowhere is like, I'm gonna fucking freeze water right in front of you. Like, and they're like, oh shit. So like and another interesting story to tell would be, do we just like boost up this kid and pretend like he was never in a lower caste and like just bring his family on up? Or do we just lock this kid away? Because we know what happens when we try to lock avatars away. It doesn't fucking work. And you only hurt
Yeah,
yourself.
doesn't end well. But that would be good if they brought him from a lower caste and then he got to see how the upper class live and the differences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they brought him out of his little hovel or whatever and they're like, hey, here's these like, robes and like he gets to see how the rich live and then he gets to see the difference, the dichotomy between the two. Because I really wanted to be a champion for, the poor,
I think that they would, if they really wanted to tell that story, they would definitely like. First of all, he would be mystified by it, the glamour, the glitz, the lights, the fine robes, the fancy beds, all that stuff, and then he'd be
Mhm.
like, "So, like, I want to invite my friends," and they'd be like,
Right.
"Oh, you silly bitch, they're not your friends anymore. You're rich now," and he'd be like, "What?"
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so like, and then like, if we're gonna do this from the perspective of a young adult, he's gonna be like, I'm going to go hang out with my friends.
Right.
And they'd be like, the fuck you are, and then like actively stop him because he doesn't know what to do. Um, and
And
like
then you get to
basically
see an
be,
Earthbender fight, Toph 2.0.
that would be lit. And but it's like he would, being a young adult and being able to pull his family out of poverty, he would be happy. But we would also see the prison that wealth puts you in. Now you have to watch your back because now you have wealth. Now people feel like you betrayed them because you became successful and stuff like that.
And they could play with all those elements. Like he could have friends that he sees and they turn their back on him because of what they perceive him to be now. And he could have friends that, he goes to see them, they still, accept him and all of it. And like when he's in you know, the rich environment, he can see how empty their lives are. You know what I mean? Like they're always worried about their position and, constantly political infighting. And you might just get tired of it.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that something that rarely gets played into on a really like past the surface level is how rich people, so money can't buy happiness, money can't buy loyalty, but money can buy security.
It
And
can.
that's the point of the story. And
Yeah.
like the individualistic hope is that the money that buys security will also buy loyalty and happiness and friendship, and rarely does it. But like we would see how the security would be turned against him because he would be like imprisoned by it. Like they would, I don't put it past them, or like I wouldn't put it past the storyteller to be like, we are going to force you to hang out with these people. We are going to force you to go to these events. Like you have to because this is a part of your class now.
Mhm. And maybe you could throw in like a revolution, like in France, like what happened in France. Like
What
the
happened in
people,
France recently?
well, not recently, but I mean, the French do like to party, don't they? But
Yes, they do. They do.
but I meant like Marie Antoinette, the French Revolution. Like people were starving and like people were suffering, and like the upper class were just partying and being decadent and have parties and like I'm not saying we can narrow too far, but like say something happens and it's a spark, and then they have to be like, "Hey, Avatar, you got to put this down. The people are rising up. You gotta,
Mm-hmm.
protect your new class."
And then he'd probably be along for the ride at first because if they were to put him against people that he doesn't really know, maybe he wouldn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
But like then he would see like the consequences, like the community aspect would come in of seeing the consequences of when he hurts somebody that he doesn't know and how it affects people that he does know.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's great about that is that no matter how it goes, it can lead into the next one because it'll show. Because I mean, it's gonna end with him changing, the government or the society, right? We know it that it's gonna end with him succeeding, and
Yes.
that's gonna be a lesson to other nations. They're gonna be like, you know what? When he pops up again, he or she, we need to like clamp down on him early, and that's when the Fire Nation will get him and then train him up.
That is a great set. I like that.
Yeah, I like the
That's
way you
writing
connect.
right there.
Yeah, fuck Hollywood.
We don't need those bitches.
We don't need those bitches. We can write better shit than they can.
Like, it wouldn't happen with Nickelodeon because shit has gone down over there. But
Mhm.
like, HBO Max could pick the shit up.
Yeah, if they actually, dude, I'd watch it. I'd watch the hell out of it.
If HBO Max takes it, we're gonna see a lot of blood.
And I'm
There's
fine with
gonna be
that
blood
too.
everywhere.
I'm fine with that too. I want to see. Let's see people get squished. It's cool. We did the PG-13. We can get to R. It's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm
I
not.
don't know if they'll be as graphic as people getting squished because it is still like, hey, we want to like be able to widely market it.
Yeah.
But like I think, oh, hang on a second. Let me see if I can mute real quick. I got a siren in the back.
No worries.
Okay, cool. They put the settings for the host like away in the cabinet and I have to reach the cabinet. But like um they I feel like for what they would be allowed to get away with on HBO Max, they would replace anything that would be super graphically violent with like weird subverted sexual humor.
Yeah. I'm fine with it. I mean,
It's about execution.
yeah, that's true. It's about execution and subtlety, I guess. I don't know. Depends on how obvious they are with it.
It's
But
HBO Max. How obvious
yeah,
do you think they're gonna be?
yeah, that's true. But like I said, I mean, I'd be down for it. I would watch it. I'd watch how that because they could touch on a lot of issues and it has a
Mhm.
lot of potential. And it's obviously a love story. Like it's got fans.
For sure. All right. So it's been a bit, so I'm about to close out, but I do have one final question for you.
Of course.
Luigi Mangione, what bender is he?
Uh,
Oh, you gotta think about this one.
I know. I do. I do. I do. It's hard for me to say. I want to say either fire or air.
Ooh, why fire?
Well, just because he did the D, like when I look at him right now and I think about the stuff he did, I'm thinking straight Zuko. Like he's got Zuko's personality. Like when he like got the swords and the mask, and he just left and he like went on his own and he handled business and he hunted the Avatar on his own. I'm getting the feel like that. But the way he handled that pew pew is straight airbender. Just 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 straight airball shots. So I gotta give him the air. I gotta give him the airbender for that. He's one of those airbenders that has a fire personality.
Oh no! Oh my god, that was
He was
amazing.
he was flicking them off, dude.
All right. I'm gonna say Earthbender.
Well, how
And
come Earth?
I'm gonna say Earthbender because, like, okay, so when we think the Earth Nation, we think the politics.
Mhm.
However, people on a monolith, right? Like, obviously, as we can see here, even in the United States, the government and the citizens are miles apart. We don't, our government does not represent us. Um, so I think it would be very Earth Nation, very Earthbender to just throw a really sharp rock into
Oh, I
like
see it. Oh, you're right. Just
yeah.
that's even better. That's even better than mine. Oh crap. And it works better because honestly, he was kind of like the way he did everything was kind of Machiavellian. Like that was
Yeah.
you definitely get the feeling his plans within plans. Like the leaving of the bag, the monopoly, all of it. Like he thought about it.
It's
So okay, I
definitely
give it to
like
you.
huh?
I'll give that to you. He's definitely Earth Nation.
Like cuz like Earth Nation, we don't talk about how the Earth Nation for the part of it that wasn't uh invaded, how they were really playing the long game.
Yeah. No, they were politically aware, definitely.
All right,
And
you
it
take
worked
care,
and it
huh?
worked better because a little pebble.
And it would have like yeah, let's break it down, right? It would have worked better because it'd been a pebble, and like any DNA evidence would have just like melted back into the earth.
Yep, yep.
That'd have been
Hey, it was a
insane.
blast. It was good talking to you. You
Yeah, good
take
talking to
care,
you too.
okay?
You have a good night.
Likewise. Take care.
Yeah, yeah.